Hey everybody, it's Colin from Colin's Backstage Pass, where every week we sit down with bands and venues and music folks here in the Lake Norman area and the Charlotte area. And this week, I'm so excited to have friends of mine from Kids in America, Mike and Shannon. How you guys?
Hi, we're good. How are you?
Doing good. Outstanding. Glad to have you on the show. And Mike, I got to start by saying, as a fellow Long Islander, it's good to have you on the show. Bring some New York to the mix now.
Yeah.
We've probably known each other longer than we remember, but it's good to have you both. And Shannon, I'm looking forward to learning more about you. I did my research, so I know some of the little secrets that are out there. So we're going to bring it all out. All right, so let's jump in. So Mike, obviously as the ringleader of all these bands, and I don't know if we're going to have time to talk about all of them, but let's go back to when you first started in music. What got you going, and then what brought you to Charlotte?
Good question. So I started playing professionally when out of my early 20s. Took drum lessons for many years on Long Island. Started playing with bands, and then started playing professionally. And when I say professionally, getting paid in my early 20s. You hit some kind of pro level, I guess.
Even it was beer money, right? You're
Right.
still getting paid, right?
So, doing bar gigs and just doing, band stuff. I never got into original bands too much. Not that I don't like original music. I've recorded many original songs. It was never a road for me. I always do cover bands or general money flow. So I did that in New York for many years. Different work with a major agency over there. And then I moved to Charlotte about 18 years ago. I really had a family. My kids were young and I wanted a new start. Well, as you know, Long Island, New York can be a lot of reasons why you want to move. But one of them is expensive, and I wanted my kids to grow up in that. Really not me, but an environment that they could afford and have their own lives when they got older, which is now. So that was the main reason why.
So what made you pick the drums?
My neighbor down the block, his older brother, when I was about 12 years old, had a day, and I was by him, and I was lucky enough to have a Long Island Drum Center, which is still around in my town, and they expanded. There was only one when I took the lessons from them, and then they expanded to 7 stores. Now they're down to a couple. But anyway, I started with Jerry Ricky, who was the owner of Long Island Drum Center. And I see many years, about 12 years. I was one of those, most people a couple years. I don't know, 12 years for me. But I just loved them. College on Long Island at CW Post and all that stuff. And here I am.
Yeah. So you moved to Charlotte with your family. Were you still playing when you first got here, or did you take a little time off?
Good question. So I did take some time off. Before I moved, about a half a year, I had to get my family and my house moved. Half a year after I moved here, I had to play. I was rusty, and with drums, you can get rusty. Said I needed to practice. So about a half year after moving here, I started practicing more, getting back to my skill level where I was to be, and then I started auditioning for bands. And I did, you know how it is. You start playing with one band, how he can sub, or he does a good job, and then your name goes around. So. And then, to be honest, I got lucky. 3 months after I moved to Charlotte, I auditioned for the Charlotte Bobcats. I just happened to find them on Craigslist and a small ad. And I auditioned with a bunch of drummers, and I got the gig. And I was with them for 5 years, from 2007 to 2007. So it kind of launched my music career. I was lucky and grateful to have that gig for 5 years.
So you were playing drums, not basketball.
I was playing drums for the drum line. Yeah, I should have played that it was a drum line. So
Perhaps I'm for basketball. He can play basketball.
I can basketball, but I'm not nearly as good as basketball.
No.
And we had a drum line for 5 years. They were looking for new guys and wanted to expand it, so Shannon. But I did that for 5 years. My name out there, I was doing halftime, a lot of cool stuff. So I started playing with bands, and I came to Charlotte to play full-time music, which I knew would never happen in New York. But I was also teaching drums, so I had some flows. It was tough in the beginning.
Right.
I had a house from a selling house, but I didn't have a whole lot of money behind me. I had about a year, so I was doing whatever I can to make money, anything.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. I was working at Carrabba's when I first moved here, the one in Matthews.
There you go.
Yeah.
I helped open that restaurant back in '96. So I hear you, brher. It's you got to do what you got to do when you get here.
Nobody knew who I was. I didn't know anybody in the world. You just have to build your name, and then it happens if you do the right thing.
Absolutely. So one day you decide you're going to start the most eclectic 80s band,
Yes.
and you're going to put on the most fantastic show, and you're going to surround yourself with amazing musicians. Where did Kids in America come into your head? When did that all kind of
That's a
start?
great idea. Well, I'm not going to lie. There was a band in New York that's still around called Jesse's Girl. I did not know about them when I left New York, but I did hear about them when I was in Charlotte. And I said, I have a friend, he's a drummer, a couple of friends that I still stay in touch with. They mentioned them. And I said, man, there's probably none around here. I love the 80s. I'd love to do a full 80s show. So I didn't really sit there and watch their videos and try to copy them. I just said, okay, that's a good groundwork, and I'll do my own. In the beginning, I really wanted to be more new wavy and, keyboard synth. But at the time, this is only 18 years ago, when we started doing those songs, I realized, I better go a little bit more pop. Not everybody knew that. Now there's a lot of people from around the country here, but so we do more pop. And now we even do soul. And
It's such a bad bitch. I probably.
You need to move?
Sorry. My purse over there.
I may leave this in just for fun. We'll see. We'll play this for you. Yeah.
I'm going to go grab it.
So I'll keep talking.
One second.
Okay. So I started doing pop like France and Madonna and more, that wasn't in my originally mind. Not that I don't like it, but I wanted it to be more like Depeche Mode and New Order and the Cure bands. And we still do some of that, but I realized I had to kind of count to more everybody know music, Prince, pop, Madonna, stuff like that. And then I wanted it to be a girl and a male front the whole time. I really didn't want either of them to play an instrument. Not even if they did, I didn't want. I appreciate that, but I really wanted a male and female front section to really give it, and we could do, round to round. I mean, I wanted still the same formula I have today.
Gotcha. So you come up with the band, you start running around Charlotte trying to figure out who's going to be up there, and you find this lovely lady. And how did that all come about? Who's going to tell that story?
So Lacey, who's with me quite a few years, and
really, bands change members, Mike? Really, that happens?
Yeah, we're like 100 shows a year, and so she's having a hard time with that. And then Shannon came along, and so how did I find Shannon? You want to know that story? It's actually an interesting story.
I think I want to hear her side first, and then see if it meshes with what you have to say.
Let's hear from Shannon.
I am from Charlotte. Grew up in Charlotte, but then when I turned 18, I went to school for musical theater in Philadelphia, and I lived in New York in Astoria, Queens for 10 years. And so
Sorry to hear that, but okay.
It was great. I loved, not as great as Long Island is, but I was there for about 10 years, sort of in and out of the city, doing theater, like on the road. And then I was working for Disney Cruise Line and done a couple contracts with them. And I was playing Mary Poppins, which was very fun. And my second contract with Disney was when the pandemic hit. And so I was on board the ship and I had a subletter in my apartment in Queens. Basically, they terminated our contracts and let us go. And I called my mom and was like, hey, I'm moving back to Charlotte. So that happened. And I was really sort of in a weird place, not knowing what the music scene was like here or if there was a theater scene or what I was going to get into. So long story short, I one night was asked by an old friend of mine if I would sing on some of his original music at original music night at Stooges. And that was like hosting. And Derek Flint at Stooges. I guess you didn't even see me sing.
No, so I wasn't. It was the last night. This is what's interesting. It was the last night we were doing it there. The very last night, and then they were closing down that series. And Derek Flint is the light guy and the sound guy, and he's part of Stooges. And I had walked in later. He had seen Shannon perform, just doing background vocals, am I right?
Lead on a couple songs.
Yeah. And he came running over to me and said, hey, you need to check out. Shannon was still there. I didn't hear her sing, so go ahead.
But so all my friends were like, because Derek calls me over, hey, I want you to meet someone. And all my friends are like, Mike Graci's trying to talk to you? Like, what? That's true. What did he this man? He's like, I'm going to audition for my band. And I'm yeah.
Because at the time we were going through, we were actually female singers. I was like, it was coming really.
Well, and the timing was strange too, because I truly hadn't lived here in 10 years and I hadn't sung out like anywhere. I mean, and I'd never been in a band before. I had quite a bit of performance experience, but truly meeting Mike and getting into and it's really rerouted my career, sort of has given me this medium that I love more than anything I've ever done. Like, truly, to be honest. So it was just
And obviously Mary Poppins and Madonna are very different characters.
fly sometimes, but
Shannon she never sung with a band, and we all there with a bunch of females at one night. We all knew that she had the voice, and I just knew. I was like, you know what? I didn't even care about that part because I knew she would take it and do, and she really made it everything she could be, everything we expected, and honestly more. It's been great.
So I've obviously been watching you guys from afar. It's hard to keep up sometimes because you have so many shows. You said 100 shows. Is that about your average?
We're over, you're kicking in. And that just expanded from, we wanted to do some other decades.
yeah.
And I know.
Yeah, I wrote them down. Tell me if I missed any. And this may take up most of the 30 minutes, but I'm going to go through the list of bands. You got Chicago Rewired. Obviously Chicago.
Different group of people, yeah.
Yeah. REO Survivor.
Same group of people, Chicago without the horn section.
Okay. 70s Kids, Solid Gold.
Kids in America.
Right, Kids in America. And then Y2 Kids and 90s Kids.
That's
Yes.
right. And that's all Kids in America.
How do you keep up with all that? That's a lot of years.
So we rehearse every week because
Yeah.
even though we have shows every week, or 2 or 3, there are times you're like, oh my God, I haven't done a 90s show in a month. We
Right.
got to hit the rehearse.
Right.
We pretty much rehearse every week to keep up with it all. And it works out. When you play a lot, it's always pretty good. We don't touch that too much, but the 90s was still always evolving. Y2K, even 70s. 70s, you got pretty good now too. So we want the song, you got the songs we want. But, there are times you go a long gap without playing, we rehearse. So we just rehearse almost every week.
Yeah.
But you keep up with all the decades.
And it's sort of fun too. Our members are all sort of different ages. It sort of, I think, speaks to us individually where it's, I might have certain input on the Y2K stuff, or you might have a different perspective on it. And that part of it is really fun, you know?
That's true.
So I was going to actually ask about that. Obviously, I know why Mike picked all those decades because we grew up in all those decades.
That's right.
But without asking you how old you are, Shannon, I'm going to take a guess that you're not from the 80s. So when he says, okay, we're going to play this 80s music, how do you go, yeah, that's the music I want to sing?
Okay, so what's funny is so I grew up really with a lot of music because that's what we're into. So the 70s set sort of, I feel very like, I had ideas of what I wanted to do, et cetera, et cetera. And the 80s is really the decade that was the most foreign to me. So I've learned a lot. I'm still learning. There was the other day at rehearsal, I think it was our GK, someone said something about Milli Vanilli, and I was like, who? I didn't know that whole story.
They weren't singers anyway, right, Mike? So you don't want to sing there anyway.
Now it's like, back then, now it's like, oh, there's lip syncing. Yeah, from the 90s on, that's been going on.
But
see, I'm going to give you an idea. You should play a Milli Vanilli song and not sing it.
It's actually a golden idea.
And just sing the whole thing and do the track in the back.
That would be really fun. Making a mental.
Hey, well, we're trying to put in new stuff, new ideas. We didn't add Justin Bieber to the Y2K set.
Listen, I think,
and you know what? People love it.
Mike loves Justin Bieber.
I just knew it would go over well.
And it
does go over well.
He's correct.
But I mean,
hey, the people are coming out. Whatever you're picking is working because if you're doing 120 shows, I want to hear what you have to say.
We try to really play for the people. What are they going to look? We can like what they want, but you're the ones that are paying, tickets. You're playing for them, in my opinion. So do it to people.
And you've heard me say this if you watched any of my previous discussions. You guys are passionate about it. It's very obvious when you're on stage. I've seen you live a few times, but I've also watched your videos. The crowd can tell.
I wonder if that's our end. Oh, you're back.
We got you.
You're back. You're back.
Did you hear? So the crowd can tell when you guys are having fun.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like the Beatles back in the day where they just stood there and sang and didn't move a whole lot. They were great musicians, obviously, but not great performers, in my opinion. But you guys have taken your show to a completely different level. And it's the attire and it's the dancing and all the props and everything. Is that something that you have to keep working on, or is it just inherent in the show now? Like, how does that all come to? Who does that? Who does all the
I'll let Shannon
designing of that?
The front section, that's cool.
For me, like, come the theater world, because yes, it sort of does evolve and it does change. And there are times when we're at a show where it's like, all right, this crowd is going to love the hair metal medley, or this crowd go nuts for the hip hop or whatever it is. And just sort of adding these bits. I would say everyone in the band has ideas.
I would say my lead singer, Ray, now lead, he's very good at it. Hey, let's try this. Let's wear this hat. Let's wear this glove, jacket. And he has a whole prop bag that he's
Really, and he has this in a spreadsheet that he
I mean, he's got a prop like almost a crate, He loves doing it, and it's what Shannon wants. We want it, and he also loves doing that. So it's a really good group of guys working together.
Yeah.
And girls working together.
Yeah. We love watching you guys. It's so much fun. And I know you don't play at the lake a whole lot anymore because you're all over the country, I feel like.
Yeah.
How do we get you up at the lake?
Well, we got to get us back into the
boatyard.
Boatyard?
Be nice. Yeah. Talk to Clint.
All right. We got to talk to Clint.
Yeah.
Clint and Chris were the first interview. So I'll go back to Clint and Chris.
Hey, let Clint know we need to be there.
Hi, Clint.
Yeah. One of the things that I've also tried to get out of bands from the area, and now you guys obviously are all over the place, but Mike, I know you teach as well. You've got your music class, and I don't know when you have time for that, but what are you finding with this next generation of musicians? What are they looking for? What do you think their challenges are? And where do you think it's going to take music in the next 5-10 years?
It's a good question. I don't teach as much, honestly, because like you said, I don't have the time, but I have a school with 11 teachers and a manager who helps place, but give lessons. And it's a little tough. Everything recorded is really electronic sort of recording. And that's what they grew up with. You saw on Led Zeppelin when they're like, who's that? But I know the weak one. So you have to really take the songs that they're listening to today, play along with them, and then maybe, you feel, because there's not a lot of that anymore either, Do a different bass pattern because a lot of the patterns are straightforward, kind of dancey. So it's kind of all built towards dance music, in my opinion. But there is rock out there, and it's just not on the radio anymore, So you find those songs, too, that are really good songs, and are still rocking out, and you work with them. A lot of kids know that you're underground music, too, which is cool.
Yeah. I've said this before. My concern with music is the kids of this generation, if they're not playing the 70s, 80s, 90s, there's really nothing from the 2010s and 2020s that would make a cover band.
You're right.
So they have to go backwards and play the stuff like the unknown artists out there and the Paytons and I say kids, the young folks like that, are in their 20s and they're playing stuff from the 80s and 70s, right? Because that's what I feel people want to hear. And frankly, from just the band names that you've got, that's the stuff that people want to hear. The 70s, 80s, 90s is the crux of band music, right? And you're right, everything now is electronic, but I kind of worry or wonder that the next generation, if they don't jump on the bandwagon, what is it going to be at bar? What are they?
Some of them play a lot of churches, which is, I think, good because a lot of church music is actually, and even country is actually still, even though they changed and they got updated, it's still more diverse. And the music that's straight on the rock and stuff will be more diversified here on the radio. That's just programmed. It does make it difficult to really branch out. That's why I'll use books to give them all these variations. And eventually they start to seek, learning about other guys, other star reason.
Yeah. Shannon, where do you see the next generation of music going?
I'm sitting here thinking, I think that and I'm hoping that the trend continues in this direction of, there's singer-songwriters like Chappell Roan even, or Olivia Rodrigo, who are still like in the pop space. But like in Chappell's music, she's this like excellent female guitarist who's like adding all of these, guitar solos back into songs. Because when we're doing that's been challenging is, it's just the vocal is the entire song. And then it's like, there's no interlude, there's no guitar solo, there's
not even a bridge anymore. Picked up. It's literally just I don't want to interrupt.
You're right, though.
There's a lot of songs that even have a bridge.
Yeah.
A bridge or a solo or, guitar solos out the window. It makes it tough.
But I do think some like brand new stuff is hopefully swinging back in that direction, at least with really new.
Yeah.
So that's my hope as well. And it's cool at places like Mike's school where it's like you've got so many students. So folks are still learning instruments, which is great.
And when you're a beginner, you don't know any different, So you have to introduce your students to fighters and other bands. And then, this is cool. I like it. And that makes them a better player because it's obviously.
Gotcha. So, Mike, as the band leader and as someone who's been in a number of bands, you've obviously seen a lot of transition just in your own career. What do you think the trick is to keeping the band together and keeping everybody on track?
It's a good question. As you know, being in a band leader can be difficult. So I think being somebody, keeping the band together, the leader, they have to like you, trust you, and say, hey, this guy's looking out for me. He's not pocky. I care for my members. I mean, I think they'd be the first ones to tell you.
That is the truth.
I care a lot about them. I want them with me. Not always going to happen. Basically, I pay well. You know, the bottom line. I don't, it's not unfair.
Yeah, but that's not all. I hear what you're saying, but it's not just pay, because if you sucked as a boss, it wouldn't matter.
That's true. That's true. Don't be unfair. Don't pay, don't take a lot of money. I think people can pick off on that. Hey, he's using me as this guy really likes me. And obviously, I don't know. I'll let Shannon actually talk about
I mean,
that.
Mike is fair and transparent and foolproof, but at the same time, it's also that like you're very palpably passionate about everything that we do and about the band itself and about the ideas and about the members. And I feel like that's very contagious among the group because we all want to rise to that level of like commitment. And
I am very passionate.
you are.
But
From Long Island, of course you are.
I want to put it.
Yeah.
To me, there's no better feeling than people going, watching you and really getting and coming up. Yeah, man, you guys brought me back to the.
Yeah.
I was in high school.
That is cool.
And that's, not the energetic show. We're wearing, doing props and moving around, chatting, and having fun. If you're having fun, they're going to have fun. But you got to sound good. Obviously, just for you, to us, make sure we sound good. You do all those things and you bring them back. Oh, I haven't heard a Cyndi Lauper song in many years, so it brings them back. And to me, that's a great feeling.
Yeah. You guys definitely have the secret sauce, because even I've got your website up on the screen, and it's fun to watch. And yes, you have to be good musicians, period, end of sentence. But you could be the Beatles, like I said, and play good music. And the show was like a yawn fest. You guys are not a yawn fest by any stretch of the imagination. And I love all the different pieces. Mike, I've had this question I wanted to ask you probably since I met you. You place your drums differently than every other drummer in the world, I think. Anyone plays the way you do. Why? Tell everybody how you sit and why.
So I do sit sideways, and I'll tell you what, it happened about when I first started the band, my old bass player, he said, hey, why don't you set up your set sideways? It'll be different. And I started doing it 10 years ago, and I'll tell you what I like about it. One of the reasons why, because we dress 80s, so when you're kind of hidden behind this wall of drums, people can't read what you're wearing. So if we're going through all this trouble to dress 80s, and plus, but the other thing that was cool is when you do that, it puts you on, and Shannon could probably tell you, it puts me on the level with the band. Like, I feel I'm way more part of the band because they can come over to me. There's not this wall of drums. I could talk to them. So I am saying this a lot, and I just kept it that way. And now if I ever set up, because sometimes the stage is, maybe a theater or whatever, and then they're like, "What? I'm like,
so far away.
you're so far, I can't help it. This is what they want, But if I could do it, but it's really because I feel part of the band, and I can show off my clothes and all that stuff.
I've been meaning to ask you that for 20 years, probably. And you're
Hey,
the
look,
only
I
one I
do
know
that.
that does that. And you don't even sing. See, I was waiting for a microphone to show up in front of you. How come you don't have a mic?
One of these days,
One
we're
of
going to
these
get him
days.
a microphone.
I used to do background vocals in my old band. These guys don't know about it, but I gave that up. I have plenty of good singers. I don't need me in the way, but
You never know.
yeah, but
Dad, I heard him say he's going to do background next time. That's what I heard him say. So we're coming to an end. We got a little bit about a minute. I told you this was going to go fast.
Yeah,
and
do go fast.
I still have probably 30 more minutes, so we're going to have you guys back. But so what does the next 3 to 5 years look like for Kids in America and the plethora of other bands? Where do you see?
Global tour.
She said she was in a band. She told me personally.
Many.
I'll let Shannon. She did say that. So she does love the band, and we love her.
I love it. I have no plans.
So when do you see the band?
It's a global tour.
We
should go on a world tour.
We really want to go overseas. It's just hard to do, but we want to somehow get overseas.
Yeah.
Wow.
That would be cool.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I know you've been in Florida. Have you guys been to California?
No.
We just Colorado, which was really cool. We
How many
played,
states have we done? You guys?
Oh, we counted. So I've been to 16 states with Kids in America, which is pretty awesome.
I haven't counted. We would love to do more West Coast. Yeah,
Arizona was the farthest
yeah.
that we went.
Yeah.
Arizona, Texas.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to Vegas. We're going to Vegas.
you guys deserve every bit of success. I'm a big fan. We do got to get you up at the lake a little bit more often. For everybody watching, check them out on kidsinamerica.com, Kids in America on Facebook. I'm sure you have Instagram and TikTok and all the other stuff, right? So check them out. Get out to a show. Tell them you saw them on the Backstage Pass. Guys, thank you so much. This was fantastic.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you taking the time. We'll see you guys at the next show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Colin.